What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets and Rob. How's everybody doing? Before I get started talking about the latest updated list for the Mets managerial search, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you're enjoying my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. All right, guys. So the updated candidates for the Mets managerial position. Who are they? We're going to run through them. The favorites on that list, the top 5, top 6, and then we're going to give you some honorable mentions that probably don't have a shot but are still mentioned on the Mets managerial search list. The updated list that just came out recently. Here we go, guys. So we're going to start first off with Eric Chavez. Eric Chavez, obviously a player in the league for 17 years with the Oakland A's, Arizona Diamondbacks, etc. But when it comes to Eric Chavez, guys, he was a Yankees executive, basically a Yankees advisor in 2015, then moved over to the Angels organization as an executive from 2016 through 2018, and also managed the minor league team in the Angels organization for only 1 year in 2018. Eric Chavez is a long shot, but is one of the top 5 candidates on the very big list that the New York Mets have with Billy Epler. Eric Chavez is probably 5th or 6th if you want to rank the candidates to be the next Mets manager, because I think he is closely related to a Luis Rojas type who managed in the minor leagues but never got the opportunity to manage in the big leagues. I think he would fall into that category of the Luis Rojas, and you don't want to be in that category with Luis Rojas at the moment. Even though I think Luis Rojas at some point will be a good manager, Eric Chavez is not right for this job, not to throw him in the New York spotlight. With this veteran team, this win-now team, I don't think Eric Chavez is the right guy right now to be pursued as the Mets manager. The next guy on the list, we all know him very well, guys, and that is Carlos Beltran. Obviously, Carlos Beltran was the New York Mets manager until the Houston Astros cheating scandal, trash can scandal, whatever you want to call it, came out. Made big news. Everyone was getting fired. Everybody was being the scapegoat on the Houston Astros. Anybody who was a part of that 2017 team was basically fired from their position or got full immunity, i.e. the players. But Carlos Beltran, unfortunately, was a part of that team and was fired by the New York Mets because of the scrutiny that the Mets would have got keeping him, even though I don't think the Mets would have got killed for keeping Carlos Beltran on as Mets manager. I don't think all the questions weren't going to be about the Mets team. It was going to be about the scandal. And the Mets didn't want no part of that. Obviously, the Wilpons were still owning the team with Brody Van Wagenen, so it didn't make sense to keep him around. No matter how much we hated the Wilpons, it was the right move to fire Carlos Beltran at the time. And even though Carlos Beltran is probably in the top 5 of managerial candidates, I don't see the Mets giving him the opportunity, even though he possibly can be a good manager, to put Carlos Beltran in a situation where you'll give him a second chance, so to speak. Carlos Beltran, I don't think, at least with the Mets, is not going to get that opportunity. Is it possible he can be a bench coach? Possibly. But I don't think the Mets are going to look at a first-time manager who already has a scandal put on his name to put him and bring this team to the next level. And that's a World Series championship. With this veteran team, obviously he will be respected in the clubhouse because as good as a player he was, he is basically closely around the same age as a lot of these guys and can relate to these players. But I don't think Carlos Beltran is the right man for the job as of right now. I think it's too much pressure for Carlos Beltran to be the manager of the New York Mets, especially after him getting fired the first time with the Houston Astros scandal. The next guy on the list that we know about is Brad Ausmus. Obviously, he coached for the Detroit Tigers for 4 years and a very, very fast 1 year with the Los Angeles Angels. Brad Ausmus is an interesting guy because he is very well connected to Billy Epler, but we heard a lot of stories and reports about Brad Ausmus not getting along with his players as much, and that goes with the Detroit Tigers and the Los Angeles Angels. We heard it in both organizations about Brad Ausmus. I don't know. He might have too much of a short temper to be a manager of New York, to take all these hard questions and get scrutinized every day by the media, by the fans. I don't know if Brad Ausmus is ready for the prime time of New York and the spotlight of New York. I think he would be a retread, in my opinion. A manager who's been around, who was manager for 5 years for 2 different organizations, got another opportunity with the Angels. Obviously didn't get a real opportunity because he only got 1 year. But that's Artie Moreno, who wanted Joe Madden and did not care about firing Brad Ausmus. Now, you can say maybe he learned from his mistakes. Maybe he knows how he has to get along with these players in the clubhouse to get this team together and have a good chemistry. I don't know if Brad Ausmus can do that. I think he is short-tempered, and I think that's the problem he is going to come across. Even though he has a really big connection with Billy Epler, obviously he will get an interview. Maybe he'll be one of the finalists, but at the end, I do not think Brad Ausmus is going to get the position as manager for the New York Mets. I don't think Cohen wants that, and to get another retread manager, I don't think it's a smart move, especially with the failure that Brad Ausmus had with the Angels and with the Detroit Tigers. So Brad Ausmus, possibility, might be a finalist, but I do not think he is going to be the chosen one to be the manager of the New York Mets. The next guy on the list is a guy that's very intriguing that a lot of us have been talking about and has been going up the depth charts, so to speak, as a possible finalist candidate for the New York Mets position, and a lot of other positions, a lot of other teams that were looking to hire this guy, and that is none other than Joe Espada. Joe Espada was the Marlins third base coach from 2010 to 2013 and was the Astros bench coach from 2018 to the present. Now, I really think this guy's really intriguing. He was the Yankees third base coach as well in 2015 and 2017. He had so many opportunities for an organization to take him as manager. The Rangers took Chris Woodward over him. Gabe Kapler from the Giants over Espada. Ausmus over the Angels. And we can keep going on and on. He was clearly a finalist for a lot of teams. A lot of teams did like him. He is one of the shining stars to be a manager in this league. And if there's one guy who I think can wow Billy Epler, Steve Cohen, and Sandy Alderson, it is Joe Espada. He is one guy that can just make everybody surprised in an interview and say, wow, we have to have this guy. I'm a little nervous about it because he was all the way through with the Astros situation, but he is well known around the league. He is well respected around the league. And Joe Espada, I really do think, can be a very special manager. He's been around the block. He's been around a long time. As I said, he was with the Marlins, the Yankees, the Astros currently. I do think having that winning pedigree with the Yankees and with the Astros can bring that leadership that we have been solely lacking in the manager position. Joe Espada can do that. He will get respect instantly in that Mets clubhouse with all these veterans and this win now mentality. Joe Espada, even though he will be a first time manager, I think he's been in the dugout long enough in the major leagues where he can gain that respect, have that confidence, knows what he's doing, and can get instant respect all around the clubhouse. And I do think he can bring that winning mentality to this team that this team needs. Joe Espada is an intriguing candidate, but I think he's number 3 on the list as a guy who can be a finalist as well, but can surprise a lot of people in the front office when he does get interviewed by the Mets. Joe Espada, a very intriguing candidate, guys. The next guy on the list, we know him well as well, and he is probably one of the favorites, probably top 2, and that is none other than Buck Showalter. He is my favorite candidate for the Mets manager position. I think he is a hard-nosed guy who can still use analytics and use his smarts and his experience to get this team to where they need to be, and that is playoffs and then world championship. That's what I think Buck Showalter can do with this Mets organization. And on top of that, I think he has an axe to grind to come back to New York to have unfinished business when he got fired by the Yankees right before the Yankees took off and had that dynasty in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think Buck Showalter, with this unfinished business, I think really wants this opportunity and will work with the front office when it comes to analytics and the collaborative effort, but he does want to still write the lineup card. I think Epler will give him that responsibility and say, hey, it is your lineup card, but I want you to use our analytics and our collaborative effort, but you can write the lineup card. Obviously, the manager makes these decisions in-game. Buck Showalter is very good at doing that, but when it comes to Buck Showalter, he is no doubt the leader that this Mets team needs, guys. And I've been saying it from day one when the Mets needed the manager. As soon as they fired Luis Rojas, Buck Showalter is just the guy that pops into my head every single time. He is the guy for the job. I really, really respect him and do think that he will bring the veteran leadership mentality and well-respected within baseball. And even Adam Jones said that this is one guy that he respected in the clubhouse. Everybody got behind. He is a leader, and he makes everybody accountable, which the Mets don't have a lot of over the last couple of years. Buck Showalter, in my opinion, is number 1 on the list, but I'm going to put him at number 2 because of the next guy. And the next guy I'm talking about, who is another favorite amongst Met fans, is Bruce Bochy. Now, this is news to me because after Brian Sabean wasn't actual candidate for GM or president of baseball operations, I thought there was no chance you were going to pry Bruce Bochy from the West Coast out of retirement. But it seems, as of right now, Pat Ragazzo on Twitter just put about an hour ago stating that Bruce Bochy is a candidate on the list, and Bruce Bochy is willing to have an interview if the Mets come calling. Bruce Bochy, if it's true that Bruce Bochy wants to manage, will come to the East Coast, this is the guy the Mets need to get. You know, it's a simple reason, guys. Why is that? Bruce Bochy, 3 world championships with the San Francisco Giants. He's been around the block. He's been in those big-time pressure situations in the playoffs many times and the World Series. He is the guy, if he is available and he wants to do it and he's motivated, this is the guy. Accountability, leadership. The same thing we talked about Buck Showalter. The only thing missing from Buck Showalter is the World Championships. Bruce Bochy has that. If that's the guy that the Mets want, and Bochy is willing to come to the East Coast and manage again, and wants the responsibility and wants the Mets organization on his shoulders, Bruce Bochy is the guy. I think you guys can agree that if it's Showalter or Bochy, Met fans will be happy. No doubt about it. Espada is an interesting candidate. But if it's Bochy or Showalter, Mets fans will be happy. Not only do we have a championship manager in Bochy, but Buck Showalter, it seemed like he's just at the tip of the iceberg to grab that world championship. And I will not be surprised if it's between Bochy, if he wants it, and Showalter as the next Mets manager. The 3 finalists, in my opinion, would be Bochy, Showalter, and Espada, guys. Those are your candidates. I think will be the top 3 finalists. I will not be surprised, guys, if Espada, Showalter, and Bochy is your finalist for your top 3. And the number 1 guy, if he wants it, is Bruce Bochy. But in my opinion, guys, I think Showalter is the guy for the job. If Bochy does not want the job. But if Bochy wants it, Bochy is the man. We do have some honorable mentions, guys, that probably won't get the job, might get an interview, but are on the updated list from the New York Mets. Is David Wright, obviously one of the face of the franchises. Curtis Granderson, one of the greatest guys you can probably ever meet. And I think will be a manager someday, but I don't think he's ready just yet. Rick Renteria, Eduardo Perez, who's been a finalist many times with the Mets, but that was with a different front office and owner. Joe McEwen, who was also a fan favorite, who always killed Randy Johnson when he hit him. Mike Shildt, who was the Cardinals manager, and Raul Ibanez. We all know who he is. Those are your honorable mentions, guys. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you enjoy all my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos, and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Who do you want as the New York Mets manager? Once again, guys, thank you guys for watching, and as always, let's go Mets.